online that are following the webcast. So welcome to satsang. So there are questions online will be taken in, let's say, the second half of this meeting, so we can address whatever questions we have here, as well as the YouTube channel. If there are any questions on the YouTube channel, we'll also take them later on during this meeting. There are also a couple of questions that were sent to me by mail, and I will also need to address those somehow during the meeting. Please, there are blankets and pillows if you feel a little cool or you need any blankets, help yourself. Noticing the breath. There is a stillness, a peaceful quality to simple breathing. Sort of a settling into breathing, into the depth and into the breadth of the breath. The mind is tranquil. In a way, everything that we do in our life is directly or indirectly looking for this peace, looking for that inner tranquility, where there may be all sorts of things happening, but that inner tranquility is still there. There may be coming and going, but deep down, our love is not so much for the comings and the goings, but it is for that inner tranquility. We are very active in our life, and that's okay. It's somehow what this human dynamic, one of the aspects of the human dynamic is this activity. Love is the peace, the happiness, the bliss. And in everything that we do, in life, in work, in relationships, and in our inner contemplation, we do because we have a forefeeling of that peace, that causeless happiness, that inner tranquility. Somehow, when we look at our life without dressing it up, we realize that it seems that we just on a bumper ride, a roller coaster ride. Somehow it's not taking us deeply. There may be moments, of course, of peace, but overall, it's a lot of spin, concerns, worries, troubles, emotions. But in spite of all of that, in spite of this roller coaster ride, we still inquire and we look and we wonder about that which is not a roller coaster ride. Somehow we know it within our inner being, although that may not be our ongoing direct experience. Somehow in our heart of hearts, we know that it's there. And we believe that we need to get rid of stuff, we need to fix our life, we need to fix our thoughts, we need to repair our experience to bring it to a better one. And within that belief, that we need to fix things, the mind engages itself in a battle. It separates itself from being and embodies a doer. Leaves the peace of being and engages itself in doing and becoming. And at the core of this doing and becoming, there is the promise that it will be better tomorrow, that it will improve, hopefully, quickly, soon. And when that model is not examined, it operates as your experience. And somehow, the peace of being is replaced with the activity, the pursuit and the resistances and the concerns and the strategies of a doer that somehow I've become, hoping, expecting, regretting, over and over and over again. This model of being a personal doer, someone that can figure out how to fix things, this model is just a model, it's just an overlay. It is a mental construct that feels real when it's not examined, when it's not looked at. Peace and happiness are not possible tomorrow. Your experience is never in tomorrow or is never in yesterday. It's always the eternity of presence. Yesterday appears to you as a thought, what we refer to as a memory. Tomorrow appears to you as a thought, which we refer to as time. Time appears to you as thought. Because in your direct experience, which is right now, there's no time. There's no becoming. There is no doing or non-doing. You need to contemplate very deeply.
Yes, Danny.
What arises in thought. Whenever you are seeking something, even peace and happiness, within that seeking, there is the assumption, maybe it's an unseen assumption, that it is not available to you right now. And if it's not available to you right now, when would it ever be available to you? So is it possible in your life, and this very moment, because it is this very moment, to be all embracing, meaning to recognize that there are no boundaries in your direct experience right now. Nothing is a part of you. Nothing is apart from you. The breath, the bodily sensations, the weather. How lovely, it's sunny and rainy at the same time. There is an intimacy to your experience. To look and see that, see it directly for yourself, that everything you experience is intimate, complete intimacy, 1,000% intimacy with I beingness, I awareness, I presence, I consciousness, I nameless awareness, nameless presence. See that, see this intimacy is so intimate that what would it be to pursue anything if it's intimately yourself, or to avoid or resist anything if it's intimately yourself already, beyond time, outside of thought? You see? So we examine, we look, we take a close look at the belief structures that they're operating right now, and they're operating most of the time below the radar, but yet they're there intimately. You can look at them right there. Look, because you're interested. There is an interest in looking at your assumptions. What are you starting with? If you look closely, you will find that you're always starting with me. Me this, me that. Me the mother, me the teacher, me this, me the good, me the bad, me the pretty, me the tall, me the short, me the rich, me the poor. Always this silent, assumed me, which is fine, but it's going under the radar. Can we take a look at it? Can we notice that right from the onset, unseen, unnoticed, there is a me in all our thoughts? Blah 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 blah. This is a me. What is this me? I'm not saying no me. There's no me. I'm just saying, what is it? I'm interested. I'm looking because I'm interested. I'm interested. Why? Because if there is a me, it's right here, right now. So I'd like to be familiar with it. So I look. I don't assume it and then go on living without examining my primary assumption. So if there is a me, what is this me right now? There must be a me right now. What is this personal me right now? We look. Each one of us has to look. Look intimately for yourself. Look, what is this me? What is this me? How does it appear to you? Here, the me appears as thought. And appears as sensation, feeling. It appears as thought, images. It appears as feelings. And it also appears as bodily sensations. So say, oh, that's me. So when I look at the me, I perceive thoughts, feelings, sensations, perceptions. Like I can look at my hands, look at my legs. I look at myself in the mirror, an image, perception. Yes? So I say, wow, interesting stuff. Pretty interesting. It's interesting, isn't it? Perception, sensation is fascinating. And we call it me. Okay. But then I go to the next big question. What is it that's perceiving that? Something is perceiving this image. Something is perceiving this sensation, right? Something is perceiving it. And that's I. I'm perceiving. I'm perceiving. So what am I? Am I what is being perceived? Am I the sensations? Am I the images? Whatever they are, they may be pretty images, ugly images, bad images, self-denigrating images, whatever. Am I that which I'm perceiving? Or am I the formless perceiver? What I perceive, what is perceived is, we can say it's a form, it's an object. We perceive a tree, we perceive a car, we perceive a thought, we perceive a bodily sensation. They're objects, gross objects or subtle objects, but they're forms, they're objects. Am I an object? Am I that which is perceived? Look at that, look intimately within yourself, look at that. To see it so clearly for yourself that you don't need anybody to help you with it, or nobody can shake you away from that, from your own personal discovery, from your own personal inquiry. It's got to be your own to see it, that yes, I am, but I'm not an object that appears. I don't know what I am. It doesn't matter to label it, to call it, to name it, to give it an epitaph. Not needed. We can name objects, name a table, a tree, a car, a rug, a couch. It's okay. It's a functional, it serves a purpose. But can we name the I? Can we name the I? You can name something that you perceive, you measure it, you describe it, say this is pink, this is green, this is yellow. What's the color of I? What is the shape of I? What is the gender? How tall? How wide? How thick? What's the density? What's the volume of I? Right? It brings the mind to silence. To silence. I is the silence. Deep, vast silence. Alive and knowing. You know, in the spiritual teaching, they sum up the teaching with know thyself. Know thyself. Not know all sorts of things about the body, about your uncles and your cousins and your grandfather and your sister and your mother and your children. It's know thyself. It's not know your genealogical tree, know your ancestry, know your tribe, know, your culture. It's know thyself. This knowing thyself is being thyself. It's a knowing being knowing, because you are thyself. Thou art that I am I. I is I. Formless I. A mirror reflecting a mirror. I. Just as a metaphor. You know yourself directly, without having to go to the Encyclopedia Britannica, without having to go to your grandma or to your rabbi or priest or say, please tell me, what am I? You don't know I, because I am I. I goes directly to I. I goes directly to I and knows I. So the contemplation of I, not the contemplation of I and the world, I and my partner, I and my family, I and my money, I and my future, I and my retirement. Just I. To recognize yourself. And this self, this I, is complete transparency. Complete transparency.
I'm sorry, I was going to ask a question, and you just answered it.
Yes.
Can I say
wait, un peu plus fort.
I was going to say, when you say you cannot put a name,
yes.
I was going to say, can you say transparency?
Yes, because...
but although it's a name, but... Yes,
because the I is the reality, not a conceptual realm. This precedes anything that arises. I perceive anything that arises. I perceive the word. I perceive the world. But the I is not preceded by anything else. That's why it's referred to as the ultimate, the absolute reality or truth, or doesn't matter the word. Like Francis used to say, the buck has to stop somewhere. Can go on and on and on. At some point, you have to come to that you can no longer go beyond it. And that is the I. Why? How come? Because everything arises and disappears in your experience. The weather, the body when you were 12-year-old, now you're 30, 40. All experiences, everything that arises is impermanent, arises and dissolves. But I, does that arise and dissolve? Good question. No, don't take my word for it, you have to look. There is that which does not arise, that is not subject to conditions. This is whatever you refer to as the reality of your experience, is that I. And when you look at the reality of your experience, you say, well, the reality of my experience is that it's a sunny day. 10 minutes later, there is a snowstorm. What happened to the sunny day? It's no longer there. So the reality of your experience has changed, right? If you assume that the reality of your experience is the sunny weather. So therefore, you're talking about a reality that changes, and that's an oxymoron. Reality does not change. So the reality of your experience could not be the weather, because the weather changes. Many people feel the reality of their experience is the body. Well, the body at 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 15-year-old, 100-year-old, no more body. So therefore, the reality, if it is your body, it's a changing reality, and that's an oxymoron. Reality cannot change. So therefore, the body cannot be the reality of your experience. If you plug in whatever you want to plug in, you will find there is nothing that you can plug in that is the reality of your experience. Because there is nothing that is the reality of your experience. Only one no thing is the reality of your experience. Maybe it may sound like a tautology, but it is the reality of your experience that is the reality of your experience. Reality is a reality. The reality is nameless. It is itself. It knows itself. I know I am. You cannot describe it. We use the word consciousness, awareness, presence, but these are just metaphoric way of pointing to that which is not something that you can point to. Because that which you are pointing to is that which is pointing. It's paradoxical. It seems like, wait a minute, what do you mean? What do you mean? We don't need to really struggle so much to understand it, because it's not understandable. It's just, you know you are. Just stay with, I know I am. I know I am, but I don't know that I am because of ... I know I am, period. So the I knows itself, knows the amness, knows amness, because it is amness. And this amness is not just a dull amness like the amness of a stone. It is aware amness. And of course, because of this realm, we call this aware amness, Magdi, Joe, Bill, Mary, Hannah, whatever. It goes by all names. We name it oak tree, holly tree, sparrow, eagle. We name this amness cloud, sky, river, lake. We name this amness beingness, awareness, by all names. That's just the play of lila. The play of the dream, like when you go to sleep at night, you dream. The play of creation. But where is the peace, you see? The peace. The peace that doesn't come and go, the peace that does not depend on, oh, finally, I found the right partner. Oh, great, now I'm happy. Not that peace. Because the day after tomorrow, your partner loves the neighbor's son or daughter. Anyways, talked enough, so we can take whatever questions you have. Okay, Frédéric.
I just discovered something about breathing.
About breathing, yes.
I discovered that, first I discovered that I was not breathing. But secondly, it's part of my routine now in the morning. It's really to breathe and nothing else. But I noticed that when I breathe in, then I breathe out. There is this moment at the end of, when I'm done breathing out, there is a space there.
Yes.
Before I breathe in again. I have never felt this space.
Mm-hmm.
And in that space, I find a lot of tranquility.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's very interesting because we think that we need to breathe in right after we breathe out,
mm-hmm.
but that's not true.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There is a space there, maybe
yes.
5, even
Yes.
as much as many as 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
That is like very, very calming.
Yes. Yes.
So I don't
Yes.
know if anybody has
Well,
that.
in some yogas, there is the invitation to notice that at the end of the inhalation, there is that space, and then there is the exhalation. Also, sometimes we refer to, well, that's very kinetic. You know, the breath is very kinetic. It's so direct. We can experience that stillness, that space of between activities, between seeming activities. And we also sometimes speak of thoughts, that between a thought and the next thought, there is a silence. There is a space of silence between thought A and thought B, because there are two thoughts. If they were connected, there would be one thought. So we also sometimes speak of that. And when you just contemplate that, it's more like a higher reasoning. It makes sense. It makes sense that, yeah, between thought A and thought B, there must be some space, because there are two thoughts. But it's not our direct experience, like in the breath, you see. Like with the breath, we can experience that stillness. But we can't experience that space between thought A and thought B. And yet, let's say that we cannot experience it as something being there to perceive it. Because if there is something between two thoughts that is perceiving it, then what is that something? It must be another thought. So there is no way to actually perceive that which is being pointed at, which is like the gap between objects. It's not possible to perceive it via thinking. But there is a different way of perceiving it, which is in turning towards resting as being. And yes, anyways, let's just say some more about that. That's, yeah, right. Let's say a yogic actually practice, to a yogic sadhana, to turn your attention to that space between inhalation and exhalation, which is the place of stillness or peace.
I think that stillness brings transparency. That space there.
Yeah, it is transparency.
Yeah, it is.
It is transparency. Vicky.
When you speak about
Yes.
I'm always confused about the I. Now I'm fully aware there's a personal I and there is a non-personal I, like an I am. But in the time that I've been with you, we have talked about consciousness and awareness. And to me, that makes more sense. So I am thinking that when we speak of awareness, just if we can take that, then I will say that we are all aware.
We are all aware.
Yeah, everybody here is aware, because I am aware that I'm speaking to you now. I am aware that you are bringing up your class, so we are aware. In fact, when I can't find my cell phone, or I forgot something, I'm still aware that I'm not aware. So aware aware, so being aware as an adverb, I am aware. Because we are, can establish that we are all aware. Now, then to go into awareness itself. To me, that seems to be that here I am, and I am aware. I'm aware that you take your cup and you're drinking this water. So, but I also know that I am awareness itself. And that's really incandescence. That's, you call it I, we call it consciousness, you call it awareness. But there is this gap from being aware to then be awareness itself. So for example, this morning, as I'm laying in bed and I like to contemplate these things, and, thinking of the space and so on. So I thought I'll monitor myself this morning and just when is this gone away? So it's with me, this feeling of peace. Because awareness is all peace, beauty, so on. And so I get up and and then all of a sudden I realize that, I should have done my laundry. I mean, the minute that thought comes in, that thought takes over. And I become the doer, just like you're talking about. So I'm this doer. And I can get, and then this doer runs the show.
Well, I mean,
even though you have the awareness and understanding on one hand, you have the doer who pops in. What makes the doer? What is it? Obviously, it's a thought. There are thoughts. But then thoughts come in, and I'm now in thoughts. And awareness is poof, gone.
And so what's the question? Because you said so many things.
That's the whole package.
Okay. So you say I am aware. Okay.
I'm aware, and I'm also aware of the doer.
Yes, well, let's take it. You said so many things. So you say I'm aware that there are 3 couches here, right? And then you said I also, I don't know if these were your exact words, that I also know I am awareness. Something like that, right? And that sometimes the thought arises of doing something and then you become the doer.
Right.
Okay.
When I say awareness, it is more that I am aware that I am awareness.
You're aware that you're awareness.
In which all of a sudden the mind drops,
Yes.
The space, you're into the space you are into. So
right.
Yeah.
You're aware that you're awareness and there's sort of peace.
I am this space.
Yes.
And this peace. I am what moves in here outside of all the objects that, So
Okay. Yes. Okay. And then you said then the thought arises and then I'm sort of into the thought. Right. Okay.
No gap.
So let's look at this. Okay. So when we say I am aware, what are we saying? What are we saying? What are we saying? We're saying what is this I am. Am meaning being, beingness, right? I am. Aware meaning knowing. To say I am aware meaning I, whatever that is. It's the ultimate, let's see, the ultimate, which we refer to as consciousness or beingness or whatever, absolute. So I am meaning being, aware meaning knowing. And then we add of the couch, okay, which is labeling perception. Okay, but until we get to the couch, Until the mind comes in and we say, this is a couch. This is not an issue. Of course, no problem with calling it a couch. There is I, meaning reality, am, beingness, aware, knowingness. I'm aware. So when we say I'm aware, this is what we are saying. Now, what we may be believing is that I, Magdi, I, this person, I'm aware. So the I is at the crux, of the matter. When the I, which is the transparency of being, which is wordless, formless, undescribable, when we describe that as the body, when we say the I is 175 pounds of flesh and bone, it's a female or a male, blonde or black, when we do that, we have substituted, replaced the I, which is the vastness of being, with a body-mind person. And now we are experiencing everything from the point of view of a person. How is it affecting, how is now what I'm perceiving, how is the couch affecting this body-mind, this particular body-mind? Conventionally, in our way of speaking, we say, I'm aware. But for the majority, we don't understand what we are saying, because we have assumed that the I refers to the body-mind, that the I refers to Vicky or Magdi. So when you say, I am aware of this glass, you're basically saying Vicky is aware of this glass. But in fact, it's not Vicky that is aware of this glass. It is awareness that is aware, because Vicky is the instrument. It's a very, very perfect, beautiful instrument that via, for example, the ocular sense, I can perceive the light shining on this crystal and shining back and with the form and the shape. And via the mental, the brain activity, I can recognize the word glass. So I'm able to say, this is a glass. I don't say this is a stone or this is a diamond or this is a tree. I say this is a glass. So that the instrument, the body-mind instrument, is intricately connected with the whole, the various causes and effects of the phenomenal realm. It's part of the phenomenal realm, but it is not that which perceives. I often refer to the metaphor of a binocular. A perfect binocular that can help you to see 15 times or 20 times, meaning from 150 yards, you can see like if it's 1 yard closer to you. When you look, you see the butterfly that's way out there by the fence. You see it right there. You can say that it's orange and yellow. It has blue streaks on its wings. But it's not the binoculars that are perceiving. It is I that perceives. The binocular, like the body-mind, is an instrument. So when you are saying, I perceive the glass, or I am aware of the glass, and you confuse the I to be the instrument, this is where ignorance comes in. So in our contemplation, in our inquiry, we're always inquiring about what do we mean by I? What is when we say I, what do we mean by I? And you started your question by saying, when you say I, you confuse me. But it's important to keep coming back to that, irrespective if it confuses you or not, to come to clarity. In your direct experience right now, what is it that perceives? What is this I? Is it the body that perceives? Is it the mind that perceives? What is it that perceives?
It's outside of body-mind, as you were talking.
I perceive. And this I is not something that you can describe. You cannot say I is the brain, or I is the nervous system, or I is this or that. You can only say I. And what is it that says I? It's I that says I. Now, when you say that a thought arises about doing the laundry, and then I'm like completely taken by the, I left my I, I'm left awareness, I left the peace, and, because I'm right now in doing the laundry. What is it that is doing the laundry? The body is doing the laundry. The body is doing the laundry, is putting in you follow? It's the body is a function, but what is it making do all that? What is it that's making the lenses of the binocular, they're like lenses, they can, or the telescope, they make them come closer or further apart. It is that which controls it. So what is it that gets lost in the activities? That which gets lost in the activities is the one that is resisting the activities, is the one that is saying is something else that I should be doing besides these activities. And so there is a thought or a body of thought that arises to you that says, I've lost it. That which is saying as I've lost it is the one that is saying at the same time, it should be different. Because if it's not saying it should be different, why would it say I've lost it? Why would it say there is an issue? It only says there is an issue with doing the laundry or whatever it is, because it should be something else. It should be something else. So the only thing that says it should be something else is a thought. A thought arises and says, darn, it should be sunny today. It's a thought that arises. But the thought is just an appearance. It's like a cloud. It's like the wind. It's an appearance. Something needs to believe that that thought is God Almighty. It is you who believes that. It happens in a flip of a second. I know, I'm like breaking it down, but in fact, it's subliminal. But somehow we are participating. We say, yeah, where is the peace? Where is the peace? The peace is right here, right now, in the midst of everything, at the heart of everything. Everything is arising in that peace. But something arises and says, no. The peace should look like this. I experienced it in 1968. Don't you tell me. I remember I experienced it in 1968, and I know what peace is. It should look like this. Everything else is crap. Everything else is second-hand, close but not it. Close but not it. It's better but not it. Not it. You need to see that process. The process of separation in this very moment. What is the problem with doing freaking laundry? I'll do laundry. I don't do laundry. You do laundry.
But in just what you're saying, because this is what I think. So I see outside here,
yes,
a bed of flowers.
Yes, beautiful flowers.
And I revel in that flowers. There are some birds, perhaps a little waterfall.
Beautiful.
I revel in that. Next is the trash.
Yeah.
So it goes back to this dual way of the mind, the good and the bad, the beauty and the beauty. But you said that the seeing, now I can see that which is beautiful and revel in that.
Yes.
But I can also see the trash, and I will say somebody could.
Well, if you see the trash, you can go pick it up. You go pick it up,
Yeah.
or you can call the city and say, "Hey, there is some trash," and say, "Okay, we'll come next Tuesday, pick it up."
That's not the issue. The issue is that I then see the duality of this, and so one is disturbing and one is peaceful.
There's no duality in that. When you look at the yard and there is beautiful daffodils blooming, it's beautiful. When you see all sorts of trash, I mean, it's not beautiful. Where's the duality with that? There's no duality there.
I saw two things at the same time. So the beauty and the ugly can, it's just flip of the mind. It's good, bad.
Oh no! Wait. Sorry. There is beauty, okay, and beauty is an expression of a harmonious expression of how things are, and then there is the abuse. There is like I don't want to take the trash to the trash can. I throw it out the window. I roll down the window. I throw it out the window. Okay, that comes out of ignorance of the wholeness. It's like, I don't care. That's somebody else's problem. It's not my problem. Out the window. And we perceive that. We perceive the trash. We perceive the ugliness of separation. What is creating this trash that's being thrown not in the trash can, in the wrong places, is ignorance. You see? And there's nothing beautiful about ignorance. I mean, we see that in countries. They put their own people, their cousins and their neighbors in jails. They do that. You think that's beautiful? It's completely ugly. It's mad. We recognize the madness, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the inner peace, because there can be an inner peace in recognizing, wait, what is ignorance? There is ignorance in the world. Come on, we all know that. It's rampant. It's rampant. It's everywhere, because there is the seed of separation, that the virus within us. We see it, and we recognize it. That's really. But does it divide us? Does it have to divide us? Is the question. You see, does it have to divide us?
So you say the seed of separation is in us.
Well, it's in the space.
Part of the body, mind, part of that.
It's the belief. It's the belief that, hey, I'm not you. I've got the goodies. You take care of yourself. The heck with you. It's there, and we see it.
You use the term I, sometimes refer also self, and some spiritual masters use the term self with capital letter.
Yes.
Are you using those terms?
Yes, I do.
Synonymous?
Yes, I do. I use the term I with equivalent to the term self with a capital S.
Right.
And sometimes I use the term me or personal self with a small s. Yeah. But, it's...
And also, and what is the ego? Where is the ego in the picture of this?
Yeah, yeah. The way I look at the ego is that it is an ensemble, let's say, the whole body of me feelings, me thoughts, me beliefs. There isn't like an actual ego, like that you can.
Like that small me that you mentioned before.
Yeah, like for example, when I say, "Oh, my neighbor's problem is his problem. It's just I'm good enough as I am." That's an expression of ego. But there isn't an actual ego. It is, you could say that ego, the root of it is in the belief that I refers to the body-mind, doesn't refer to universal consciousness, meaning the ignorance of the self. Ignorance meaning not knowing, not being clear, not having clarity about what the self means. When we have substituted the self, capital S, with this body, me, my family, my tribe, my culture, my my family, whatever, whichever way I define me, you see, right? That's ego. But there isn't an actual ego, it's not like there is an ego within you or something like that in your, it's that belief and feeling. And we feel that, well, they're from Tanzania, what do I care about them? We feel like we're American, we feel like we're a man, we feel like we're a woman, we feel like we're a father, we feel like we're a member of the family. We feel that. But these feelings are just like the weather. They're appearance. They're appearances. But they're appearances that somehow we have defined ourselves via them. We have somehow agreed within ourselves that these appearances is what actually they refer to me. They refer to what I am. But there is nothing that refers to I, the self. That's one way of saying it. Another way of saying it is that everything refers to the self, capital S. Not just this and not that, not American and not China. Yes to America, no to China. Yes to men, no to woman, etc.
So we can say that self, that I that we're talking about, is actual consciousness, reality. Yes.
I do use the terms consciousness and reality. I just want to keep it less abstract as possible. But yes.
Separation is really the big issue.
When you look at separation, the big issue, when you look at separation, and you look at right now, it's a key thing, is you look at right now, what do you find? You find this feeling. You find it's alone, I'm alone here. You find a feeling, a sensation. But if you go to it, when you go to it, it always has to be in real time, right now. If you go to that sensation, you get closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to it, closer and closer and closer to it and closer to it. With your open arms, as a figure of speech. You find more and more transparency. Because you're getting closer, you say fear. You come closer to fear. When you come closer to fear, the words start to, F-E-A-R. You get closer. From the distance, you see fear, F-E-A-R. When you get closer and closer and closer, then there is F-E-A-R. You get even closer, then F-E-A-R. You get even closer, F is here, E is here. Eventually you're going through it, you say, what am I talking about? Where is it? Yes, it's like that. You have to go there. When there is an emotion that happens, it's always happening in real time. But what do? You have to look for yourself. What do? We move away from it. We start to think about it. Say, oh, it shouldn't be, it should have. Why did it happen? Yesterday I was better, tomorrow maybe if I take this, I'm going to take the Thorazine or yoga, do yoga and so on, and get rid of it, or no, I'll go through my therapist. All of this, you're moving away. It's an escape, but there is no escape. It's an illusory escape. It's still there. The feeling, the sensation, whatever it is still there. But to be silent and still and go to it. Because it's right there. It's so close. It's so close that you don't have to travel too far to go to it. You have to travel very far to go to your therapist. Believe me, your therapist may be half hour away. You have to make an appointment. Oh, we're available. Let me see. How about March 18? Holy shit. March 18. Yes, March 18. You have to travel far. But you don't have to travel far at all to come directly to that which is happening right here, right now, and to go to it. And you see its emptiness. Not the idea, not the thought, oh, it must be empty, oh, I'm not feeling anything, I'm feeling lousy, but no, it's empty, so I'm not feeling lousy. I don't mean it this way. I mean, you have to go and experience, go to it. But don't go to the name, don't go to the label, go to it completely, so that you go through it and realize there was nothing.
Beyond the mind, it is that emptiness. Beyond, but you have to go beyond the mind, beyond thought. It is all empty.
I don't like to.
Seems to me that thought is what explains this is an object. This is
no. You know, it's right there, right here. Let's not go beyond nothing. It's right here. You go right to it. Don't go beyond it. Go right to it. Go to it, and you will find that. You will find there isn't in it, but you have to do your own. 4:11. What time we started at 4? We started at 3. So I'm going to take a couple of questions. Hello, Laurie. You say, yes, I love the analogy of the instrument of binoculars. I have a domain. You are the wind based on the same insight. Oh, you have a domain that you wrote. Okay. You're right. Also, the seer is not dual. Reality has polarity in the dream. Yes, in the dream. Yeah, you could say that. A dream polarity. I mean, dream polarity is like Santa Claus having a backache. You know what I mean? He's been carrying too many bags. It's a dream polarity. Any questions? Anybody online?
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, Zoe.
Hi. Well, I wanted a little bit of clarification. You spoke about forefeeling, which I've read Jean Klein write about that too. Does that just mean the knowing sort of that we're peace before anything comes from that?
So, forefeeling. How do you say pressentiment? Forefeeling is an let's say an intuitive knowingness that is not based on the mind, is not based on an experience or something that you think or you've experienced, but it's based on a direct knowingness that is sort of veiled.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. And then I just wanted to report, this whole thing I've been going through with aggression seemingly appearing outside of me, it's just been fantastic. It's been like this incredible gift. When you said, okay, nothing, there's no outside. And I've just been, what's my experience? Okay, it's all arising in me. It all is me.
Yes.
And
yes.
Yeah, it's just beautiful, Magdi.
Yeah.
And so and the aggression is like this volcano has gone off, and then there's like little aftershocks of it, like little other aggressive experiences coming up.
Sure.
And I'm just seeing, it's like, okay, can I meet with it? Can I, like you were just saying with the fear, closer.
Yes.
And then what was coming? Okay, so all I experience is mind, right?
Is mind.
In a sense, is mind. But there's like a difference between the identified mind and then, like, I've heard this Buddhist term, big M mind.
Yes.
But is mind also like a synonym for self? Yes. That's all I experience is the self.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Just before I talk to your question about mind, just to say a little bit about the there's this earthquake and aftershocks. That's normal, you know, because the body mind is reflects that, reverberates that sort of aftershock, but not to make a story about it, not to struggle with it, but just to sort of observe it from a broad, an open vantage point. Yes, so that it's there are no issues and also no regrets. Yeah, so it's always real-time beingness. Yeah, real-time beingness. Yes. Okay. In terms of mind, you know, all we experience is mind. All we experience is mind is an understanding that still has a mind aspect to it. So it's not there is an understanding beyond the understanding that all we experience is mind. Because when you look at your experience and when you look at your experience freshly, meaning you're looking not from any previous knowledge, not from any past knowledge, you're looking freshly at your experience. Your experience is composed of perceptions, sensations, and mentations. Period. And in fact, your experience is even less than that. In that you're just experiencing this perception, like a frame, you know, like, you know, the movie, just one frame, experiencing one frame, this perception, and this perception, this perception, this perception. I sometimes use a metaphor of the old, you know, movie, or maybe it's not that old, the movie reel that is made out of million frames, but when you spin it, when you're spinning it, there is a horse, and then the horse starts to move a little bit like that. And then you spin it faster and faster and faster. Before you know it, you're perceiving a horse is running. Wow, there is a horse running. But in fact, when you slow it down, you will come to see that there isn't a horse running. There isn't any movement. So the movement is connected to the spin. And in the absence of the spin, there's just no movement. No movement is more another aspect, let's say, of our experience, which is the primordial aspect of our experience is no movement, the emptiness or the formlessness. And then the form and the activities arise from the spinning of the wheel. So to say that our experience, everything we experience is mind, I would say that everything we experience is non-experience. And then there is mind, yes? Mind is arising from non-experience, yes? So this non-experience is what in Buddhism they refer to as capital mind. But I don't use the term capital mind and small mind because there's already capital S and small s. Because like, hey, capital S goes before the but yes, they do speak of mind, like Huang Po, you know, a great sage. You may enjoy reading his sayings, the teachings of Huang Po. He speaks in that language using the term mind, capital M and small m.
Okay, and just one more thing I just wanted to share. I was listening to a lady speak about how she recovered from her addiction to alcohol, and she was talking about, you know, just asking God for help, but she had to be willing to stand there and shake in, you know, the stuff coming up. And it just was like, okay, so the addiction to me is like that. It's the addiction to this identity. It's like I have to be willing to stand here and let all this stuff move through and just shake the physical, apparent physical structure.
Yes, because addiction is not just a mental addiction. Even if it's a mental addiction, it also has it finds a home in the body, and it lodges itself, you know, in the body at the cellular level. And yes, so there is a process of coming to an understanding of your addictions, and also shaking it out of your body. And shaking the addictions out of your body can be very dynamic. It can be very active, and also the some of the yogas that we did during the retreat in Costa Rica, the going to the vastness, you know, of being the expansion of the body, and allowing all the sensations at the body level to sort of, you know, come to their true nature, which is the infinity of presence. Yes.
Yeah.
Now it's important when you're doing, you know, active releasing of to be really careful, because there are images, subtle images that get formed around the body. So it's sort of like a trade-off. You may be, rather than releasing the imprints of the addictions in your body, you may be substituting older ones for newer ones. Be careful about the context and the purity of the guide. If you are working with a guide, the purity of the guide who is guiding you.
No, I'm like, you know, I do your meditations. I was just this lady wasn't a guide. It was just, you know, the parallel, the metaphor of like any addiction. Well, that's the addiction to the me is like that. It's like like you talk about, it has these roots in the body after, you know, repeated reactions, and so it's like, yeah, as I've been through, you know, this apparent aggression coming from the outside, I feel it, you know, within my body.
Yes.
That's what I was referring to. Yeah.
No, I was talking generically, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But the sense of separation, you know, lives, you know, in the body. We sort of feel it, and it can flare up, you know, in emotions. So all the potential of all the emotions, you know, anger, fear, jealousy, whatever, the potential of all these negative emotions is within the sense of self, of personal self in the body. It's there, dormant, and it's really fascinating to see it. You know, sometimes we think that, oh yeah, well, you know, we're cool, and you know, it's a different matter. And so the contemplation of what am I truly, the reality of the self, takes place both at the level of higher reasoning, but it also takes also place at the releasing those vasanas from the body, and the yogas that we do during the retreats are really very important towards that objective.
Thank you, Magdi.
Well, I have two questions that I hope I can get to for 30. Yes, we do have time, yes. Okay, so this is a question from Anne. Hello, Anne. You write, hi, Magdi, could you talk about nothing happening or nothing appearing as everything? Please, thank you. Well, to talk about nothing happening.
Nothing's happening.
all is said, right? All is said. Okay, we go to the next one. Nothing appearing as everything. So nothing appearing as everything. When you are looking by the way, before I go on, nothing appearing as everything is very, very close to the highest understanding. And the highest understanding is silence, is the silent inner recognition. Coming back to nothing appearing as everything, when you're looking at something, before the recognition, there is there is the knowingness before the recognition. Put it another way, we experience our experience before we experience something. Or you could say that everything that we experience as our experience. We don't experience it as something. Because our experience is not something, it is our experience. Something would refer to something outside of our experience that now we are experiencing. And that's not our experience. Our experience is that we experience something as our experience, not something outside of our experience. So everything you experience, you don't experience it as something, you experience it as your experience. And your experience is complete intimacy. It is the zero distance of the object to the subject. In the zero distance of the object to the subject, there is no experience because it's zero distance. It's referred to as beingness. So knowingness is beingness. Knowingness meaning knowing an object or knowing an experience is knowing being. You know by being, not by experiencing. And the knowing is what we refer to as awareness. And also is what we refer to as I. I awareness, knowingness, as one aspect of Satchidananda, of truth. I, meaning beingness, awareness, beingness, knowingness. So it's I, knowingness, awareness is one ensemble. That the I know I am and I know I'm aware. That sums up Satchidananda. That sums up truth, if you want to use the term truth. That there isn't an object, there isn't an external object of experience. And there isn't an internal subject of experience. The interior and the exterior do not apply to the reality of your experience. They are lines drawn in the sky. They are lines drawn by thought. This is the west and this is the east. And there is a line drawn in the sky or a line drawn in the ocean, separating that side of the ocean from that side of the ocean. So,
can I just say something, Magdi?
Yes.
Because I was trying to talk at the beginning there, but my mic wasn't working. But
Yes.
just the first part, the question, something that's going on here that I have no idea how to describe it. But it's like talking about nothing happening. Is that it's not an experience, but it's almost like absolutely nothing is happening. Nothing is real. It's just.
Well, if nothing is real,
Mm. And I don't even know if that's the right way to describe it.
hold on. There is nothing is real as everything is real. And there is and nothing is real as something knows that. This something that knows that. What is that?
Repeat that question again. Sorry.
There is something is real as something knows that. Something knows that. What is that something that knows that?
Well, what I'm questioning is it the me that thinks everything is real? Because now there is sometimes an experience of everything is happening.
What is happening? What is happening?
That there is movement, there is a play, there's a theatre, and the body mind's in it, but I'm not that. So it's an experience of non-movement and a kind of emptiness, and I just don't know how to describe it.
Can you say something is happening? Can you also say nothing is happening?
Yes.
And
Yes.
and can you also drop both?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that's what I'm asking. It's like when both are dropped, then there's just nothing. Oh, I don't. It's not.
Well,
There's no word for it. There's no word.
if there is no word, then what are these words?
Because the words, and I can relate to when you say at the same time something's happening and nothing's happening. I can relate to that.
You can.
But then when you say
Yes.
yeah. But when you say drop both,
Yes.
I think that's the point that I'm talking about.
Okay.
The point that I'm talking about is then there's just, I just don't know what it is because there isn't a word for it.
Okay. The traces of mind still refer to mind. You follow?
I don't know what that means. No. Traces of mind still refer to mind. What does that mean?
Okay, let me put it a different way. This entire contemplation journey, whichever way you call it, is about peace and happiness.
Mm-hmm.
So that's your barometer.
Yeah.
Peace and happiness that is not dependent on anything.
Yeah, that definitely happens with this. I'd even say in the last few days I've had, which I've not really thought I'd had before, it's like been moments of bliss. It's been moments of just, I keep wanting to say emptiness, but it's a really lovely emptiness.
Okay, so the lovely emptiness that can be free of your wanting is very beautiful.
Mm.
But the lovely emptiness that also has your wanting in it, you need to take a closer look at that.
I don't really have that problem at the moment. The only thing I'm trying to discover is, the only thing I'm talking about is this kind of new discovery of it's like wow, nothing's happening.
Okay, it's about peace. Okay.
Yeah.
It's about peace. It's about
Yeah.
causeless peace. Peace that doesn't come and go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
No need to.
No need to conceptualize it.
Yes. No need to conceptualize it.
I am aware of that. Yeah. Definitely. It's more of a sort of. It's not a feeling, but it's more of a sort of.
Yeah, no need to conceptualize it.
Yeah. Okay. I can't put it into words. That's great. Yes, I understand. Thank you.
Okay, Anne.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, getting a little late, but so Paul, you're right. Hi, Magdi. Just wondering if you can offer some advice. This past year, in a worldly sense, things have been amazing, and I'm very content with how life is at the moment. Beautiful. I'm getting married. Congratulations. Moved into a nice house. okay, maintenance, got a nice car, and started a new job that I enjoy. Okay. But what I notice is my wish, interest, and time devoted to spirituality have somewhat reduced. And this is something I thought would never happen. I'm a seeker, yet my wife to be is Christian, and I never get to see or have found a Sangha after moving into this new area. I like to get darshan twice a year. This gives me that inspiration for a while. But other than that, things have dried up. I guess my question is, how can I find a balance and get that wish back to do satsang, meditation, and to contemplate and inquiry? Seems to be easy when things are not going well in life, but when things are good, my spiritual path is taking a back seat. Well, Paul, when things are good in your life and things are good within you, then all is well. Things are good. You can just enjoy it. That's a celebration, yes? But you're speaking of that there's something that you feel is missing, which is satsang and contemplation and inquiry. So is something within you that's still not fully well. It's still sort of saying, well, there is something else I need, which is satsang and inquiry and meditation. So satsang, inquiry and meditation takes place the moment you look at what is the reality of my experience. What am I truly? What is it? What is it? What is going on? What is it that's real right now? You see? You don't need to postpone it. It's happening the moment that you have an interest in, not like I have an interest in satsang. Oh, I have an interest in satsang. No, when your interest becomes alive, it doesn't need to become alive by you going to India or by you living in a sangha, or it is alive whenever you engage in this inquiry, whenever it becomes alive for you, and you say, what am I? What is going on here? What is the reality of my experience? Am I Paul? Am I the body-mind? Am I somebody that's existing in time and space? You have to look at that, because these are beliefs and thoughts, but they may seem to be real, and for most of us, they are real because they're unexamined. As you can look at any time, you can look. What am I truly? Who is it? Who is it that is having these feelings? Who do they belong to? Who do they refer to? Do they refer to the imagined me? Do they refer to the personal self that I believe I am? Am I this personal self that I believe I am? What is it to believe that I am this or that? There's so many questions available to you once you have the interest, you see. So you become satsang. You are satsang whenever you're looking at these questions. It becomes alive for you whenever you pose these questions within yourself, you see. But whenever you're saying, oh, I need satsang, you are still referring to yourself as somebody. You're not looking at what is this I that is needing satsang. You're not bringing satsang to you. You're keeping satsang out there. I need to have satsang. What is this I that needs satsang? What is this I that needs to meditate? What is it to meditate? Good question. They're good questions to ask yourself. Is meditation to be sitting facing the wall or chanting mantra? Or what is it to meditate? I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just asking, what is it? What is it to meditate? Who is meditating? What is the meditator, you see? Take a look, take a close look. Because when you take a look, that's meditation. So for now, that your life is unfolding the way you're describing it, and you have this yearning for satsang and for meditation and for inquiry, bring it home. Make it alive for yourself. And you can attend our satsangs here online. You can post questions, which is really beautiful that you have the availability of this virtual medium where you could be 1,000 miles away. Satsang is right now, right here, right now. Not as a thought, not as an idea, but as this silent presence. It's never turned off. There isn't an on-off button to consciousness. And you are that transparent beingness, that aware presence. Look at that directly. It is that which is looking. Okay, thank you for your question. So, any questions here? Any questions online? Okay, well, very beautiful to be with you all.
Thank you, Magdi.
Okay, Anne, wonderful, lovely to see you. Okay, Lee, Dolores, Gabi, Maya, and Zoe.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you, Magdi.
Okay, guys.
Thank you, Magdi.
Okay.